And so we told them, or we challenged them with making 100 listings, and then they started seeing success and more sales come in from that. We're like, okay, there's something special about this number 100, even if that's the benchmark, even if you don't hit it before you start having sales. We're not saying like you hit 100 then you start having sales, but that's kind of the benchmark we want you guys to aim for. I like to give practical advice. That's one of my goals for this year, is to make sure that I'm giving people actionable steps that they're taking. So it's hard to do on a mass like this, which is why we like doing smaller calls and talking to people one-on-one. And it's kind of 3 steps, maybe 2 steps to think about. So specifically for the print-on-demand business, if you're just starting out, or even if you're just starting out on a new platform, the best thing you can do is just make that listing. So there can be a lot of like stress or emotional connection that might be stopping you. That was something that I personally battled with, or just like fear or people telling you not to do it or whatever. But just making that first listing so you actually understand like the mechanics of how things work is the first thing you can do to take action. And then the being consistent part of that is the next thing. We want you to make 100 listings. That might sound overwhelming when you're just hearing it blunt like that, but we really think there's something magical about that 100 number of listings for print on demand. Something just starts to click, or you've put enough things out there in enough different varieties that customers are starting to see it. But it really is a quantity game in that like phase 1 of print on demand of just, okay, now I know how to do this thing. Let's do it a bunch, so I just start to understand better, faster, more higher quality ways of doing these listings. We just think 100 is a very good benchmark, and we've put that challenge out there last year, and we've seen a lot of people have success of just like they've been following us for 2 or 3 years, and they weren't just being as consistent as they may, I don't want to say should have, but they could have. And so we told them, or we challenged them with making 100 listings, and then they started seeing success and more sales come in from that. We're like, okay, there's something special about this number 100, even if that's the benchmark, even if you don't hit it before you start having sales. We're not saying like you hit 100 then you start having sales, but that's kind of the benchmark we want you guys to aim for, is that 100.
Helped a lot of people get started with POD. And it seems like Nathaniel said, that's the magic number. If you want to see this progress or this process in progress, I helped my mother, not knowing anything about KDP, never having a KDP account, helping us occasionally on our business. So she wasn't like completely blind to selling online, but never making a listing, having difficulties even like with just basic computer skills, going from 0, setting up an account, starting an account, getting the listing up, getting over 100 listings up, having success. Now she's having consistent sales, and it's a very part-time business for her. She wanted to travel a lot. She's got grandkids. She wants to see Nathaniel in Atlanta. She just went and saw him. That was a custom-built business for her that I wanted to help her start. But that process of, like Nathaniel said, getting that first listing up is a very stressful thing. It almost seems like impossible. But then when you kind of do it and get over it, it's like, oh, I can do that. Mm-hmm. It was interesting for me helping my mother to see her kind of go through that emotional roller coaster. You could see on those calls, like she gets super frustrated. I get super frustrated. We kind of like, I don't know about argue a little bit, but we bicker back and forth. And I didn't edit those videos up, even though it was painful for me to just release those raw. But I think it's very beneficial for anybody starting this journey to watch that progress. It is a long, drawn-out series. We did it over 2 months. I think we were going live almost every day for a week or 2 when she was having the most trouble of just like getting listing up. But that experience, if you can see somebody else struggle and get over it, I think will help more people. We've gotten a ton of great response from that playlist. I've linked it down in the description, hopefully. If not, after this video is over, I'll put it in the description. But I think if you're struggling and you want to get started, watch that series. It should, I don't know about convince you, but I think anybody can do this at any level. It is a struggle at times, and that's why we started this community, is to help people, because we want to see you go faster, farther than us. It shouldn't take you, like me and Nathaniel, months to make a listing because we just don't know what we're doing, and just pull the trigger and realizing like, oh, you can just get listings up and there's no drawback other than the time, energy, effort I put into it. I think if you want to touch on this, Nathaniel, when you got started, like you thought that art like represented you.
Yeah, that's a little bit what I was saying, like the emotional struggle that I had with it, coming from a world where, the art that I was putting out, like I had my name on it, like it represented the company that I was working for, where it's like, people would ask, where are you getting that shirt? And I would see people in, the town that I was living in, which is St. Petersburg, like I'd see people wearing my designs and be like, okay, like this is something that I want to represent me, something I want to be proud of. That was just a very exciting thing. And then selling online, I had that same kind of feeling, but it's not the same, especially on Amazon's marketplace. Like they're not looking for super high quality art most of the time, and t-shirts usually isn't a great place for that anyways. Usually you're looking for bold, clean, and simple things. And once that like clicked in my head, where it's not like, okay, this is going in my portfolio, like it has to be the top of the line, because if I ever want a job in future, like this is the thing I'm pointing at. It's more of like, okay, I'm making something that someone's either gonna like laugh at or giggle at for like 5 seconds, and then they're gonna move on with their day. Like it's not that serious. So kind of getting over that hurdle for myself, it was just like, you got to change your mindset a lot to kind of fit what you're doing. Like realize, okay, I'm selling t-shirts through Amazon, online to people who are just going to like giggle at it, who probably see it, this little like 2-inch thumbnail on their computer screens. They think that's funny. They're going to buy it, wear it a couple of times, and whatever. So it's just a different mindset you've got to get into. So the benchmarks, so the first one is making that first listing. The second thing is making 100 listings, and the third thing is looking for that sale. If you've made over 100 listings, then auditing your work that you've done. That's something that we've provided for people at certain periods of time, but you can also do it yourself. Just look at all those listings, see what you're doing that might be different than other people who are having success, and try to make those tweaks yourself as you're moving forward. And so even along the way of making those 100 listings, that's something you could be doing. And we kind of call that the 1% better. Like when you're in that mode of, okay, I've got this thing locked in, I'm just trying to make these listings or artwork or whatever you're doing, just trying to get 1% better. Not, I'm going to go from making stick figures to now making like, designs or paintings that I want to like hang up in my house.
Van Gogh.
Just trying to 1% get better at things is a much more realistic way to make that change over a longer period of time. So something that I wanted to say to people who have been watching us for a while, they might have heard all of the things that we just said. Kind of the twist that I put on it for myself this year, and something I want to challenge you guys with is, again, we're in January right now. So now is a great time to learn that next thing, whether it's the next platform that you want to go after, or whatever outlet that it is out there. Whether you want to start marketing through social media or using Shopify like we are, you can kind of apply these same benchmarks to that thing. So even YouTube, you can see it on our YouTube channel if you go back and look at it. It wasn't that long ago where we started making posts more regularly, and that just started with the first video. We were like, okay, we don't know what we're doing here. It was probably clipped up from something old that we did, and then we're like, okay, we should probably record things specifically for this platform, but using that same 3 benchmarks, of just do that first thing. And then after you've done one and kind of understand the mechanics again of how to get it there, then just start repeating that process. And again, we're going to put that number 100 on it. Something that we passed last year was making 100 videos. So now that we have a better grasp on it, and all the while trying to get 1% better at those things. And then, looking for that metric of success. I didn't quite know what to put here. Like on YouTube, we're not looking for like one sale. I don't really know what like success on YouTube looks like. Maybe Stephen has a better idea. But I still very much so feel in that process of like, let's keep making these things to figure out, we were just talking about this, like our style of videos and how we can communicate with our community and stuff that you guys are going to enjoy watching. So it's not just, again, me and Stephen here talking to each other. We want to make sure that, what we're doing here on YouTube is making an impact, and that we're spending our time wisely, but that we're also valuing your time as you guys are the ones watching this stuff and making all of this worth it.